Hi, Tony here. Welcome back to the channel where you find me in the beautiful but slightly overcast south of France to ride the Suzuki V-Strom 800RE. This is the new road biased version that sits next to its 800DE sibling. So let's go and find out what it's like. So this is the press ride for the new 800DE. Let's cover off a couple of little bits quickly as we leave Montpellier, so you can see the city, and we're going to get out into some nice countryside. But essentially mechanically it's the same as the 800DE. Same motor, 776 parallel twin, putting out 84.3 PS at 8,500 revs, 78 newton meters of torque at 6,800 revs. Everything mechanically about that is the same. All of the traction control modes, you've got the 3 riding modes, 3 traction control modes. This does come with a quick shifter up and down as standard. There is one glaring omission, given that this is a road focused bike, and that is cruise control, but we'll touch on that later on. But everything else is the same. The only differences are that we have a 19-inch front wheel and a 17-inch rear wheel, so much more road focused. So you've got a 110/80/19 on the front, 150/70/17 on the rear, and these are shod with Dunlop D614 road tyres. So the initial feeling is that it is obviously lower. You've got a little bit more weight over the front wheel. They have actually moved the handlebars slightly down and slightly forward compared to the DE, and the pegs are slightly back, slightly higher, only a small amount. It just gives it more of that road focus feel. Seat height 825 millimeters. Let's cover all these stats off before I kind of talk about what it's like to ride when we're out in the twisties. So an accessible seat height. There is a couple of options. You can have a 30mm higher seat and a 20mm lower seat, both of which are options. First thoughts, Dan?
Quite funky, isn't it?
Bit more direct than the Adventure. Show separate function forks, big pistons, adjustable for preload on the front, and you've got a remote preload adjuster on the rear. Other than that, the rest of what's under the skin is the same as the DE. But first thoughts are, it just feels, as I was mentioning to Dan, it just feels more direct. Although it's only it's a 19-inch wheel as opposed to the 21, it's not a massive difference, but I think that new riding position gives the bike just a bit more of a direct feel. Still got that nice plush kind of feeling from the suspension and that nice torquey motor, so it should be good. Anyway, we're going to crack on and get to somewhere a little bit more scenic. Guy, our lead rider, has just told us if we're going to film anything, this would be a nice place to do it, and by the looks of it, he knows what he's talking about. So yeah, let's just talk a little bit about ergonomics, because obviously that's the main difference. The engine and stuff I'm not going to talk about as much. I'll talk a little bit about the overall riding experience of the bike, but the ergonomics are what's different to the other bike, and it does definitely feel different to the 800DE. Obviously it feels lower at the front. As I said, the bars are just a fractionally further forward and down, getting a bit more weight on the front wheel. Feels very planted, very solid. That riding triangle is good. I'm 5'10", 32 inside leg. My legs are not too bent up, although they are noticeably that little bit higher than on the DE version. But overall the riding position is good. There's a different shape to the seat. It's a little bit more sculpted, a little bit firmer in the padding apparently. You've got a kind of a little bolster behind you, whereas the 800DE is a little bit flatter. But the biggest change to this bike is the screen, as you will notice. It's taller, it's a little bit wider, obviously set up more for touring, and it's much more upright as well. You can probably see there's little spaces they've built into it here, so it sits forward flatter than the other one. And does that make a difference? Yes, it does. Does it do a good job? So far it's not so bad. I'm getting quite a bit of sort of wind on me, on my shoulders. No buffeting though, that's the important thing. Oh, look at this, this is lovely here. Absolutely lovely. Yeah, no buffeting. My head's not getting blown around. I've got quite a bit of wind noise, quite a bit on my shoulders, but yeah, other than that, it's pretty good. I think if you were touring on this all day, you'd be quite happy with it. I don't know what it'll be like in the rain, and hopefully I don't find out today what it'll be like in the rain. I don't think there's much chance of that. But overall it's just a very nice riding experience. So very planted, it seems quite predictable. The suspension is nice and plush. The seat is quite narrow in the middle, which is good. I can get my foot flat on the ground on this with that 825mm seat height. The one thing about the placement of the pegs though is they're kind of where I want to put my feet naturally when I come to a stop. So when I've come to a stop here, they're kind of where I want to put my feet is exactly where the pegs are, so I have to kind of put them in front. But other than that, it's pretty good. So I'm just admiring the scenery here. I forgot to mention the cast wheels. So there's a new 7-spoke cast wheel on this. There is one omission from this bike which maybe can be excused given its price of $9,699 on the road, and that omission is cruise control, which for a bike that is kind of designed as a more road focused one, you would think it would have it on there. I'm guessing largely the reason it's not there is cost. I don't know what a cruise control system costs. I don't know. It's, you know, this bike at 9,699. If it was a 9,999, you know, a pound under 10 grand with the cruise control, would people balk at that? But the riding experience with this bike is lovely. It handles well. That smaller front wheel, but more importantly I suppose with the wider tyre, it just gives you that little bit of extra sort of surety at the front. It turns a little bit quicker. If you lean the bikes into the bends, it tracks nicely, sticks on its line, there's no kind of dramas. The Nissan calipers on this, they seem to be working pretty well, nice and strong, good progression, and I have to say the re-sculpted seat is very comfortable. With 150mm of travel from those shower shocks, you haven't got a massive amount of travel, you haven't got a massive amount of ground clearance, but you know, gravel roads, forest, fire roads, that sort of stuff, no problem whatsoever. But as a bike for road use, commuting, touring, I mean commuting particularly, it's a really lovely kind of narrow bike, feels very slim, that grunt is evident, useful for squirting in and out of traffic. It does make, I think, for a very good all-round bike. Yeah, nice little things like you've got the USB charger down here for plugging in your phone or your sat-nav. And the controls I like on Suzuki's anyway, really simple. Everything you need is just in that little rocker switch with the mode button there. No massive, great big block of controls. Right, so we're just doing a run down. As you can see, the road has been closed off for us to do this. So before people start, oh, you're on the wrong side of the road, you're crossing the line, the road is closed. It has got a nice rorty sound. And we're off. It is such a beautiful place to ride this. Lovely scenery, the road surface is really good quality, plenty of grip, and we've got the option here to use all of the road, which which is handy for this because this is much tighter than you would imagine this bend. There is got a slipper clutch on here, which is really, really good. The quick shifter's excellent. I found that on the DE. Something that Suzuki seem to get right. Got a really nice feel to it, really does. Snick through the gearbox very quickly. Super smooth. I've not had any full shifts. Look at that though. Sorry. Got to look too closely at the scenery. Okay, so we have stopped for lunch, so good time to have a look around the bike. It's quite nice looking. There's the blue, it's available in a green and the black. There's that big screen, so taller and wider here, but you can see the offset compared to the normal screen on the the screen on the DE sits back against this. This is further forward. Does a pretty good job of deflecting the wind, but I am getting some wind noise around my head. And this is the bike as it comes from the factory. No optional extras on this at all. One thing that really struck me about this bike, and it can be seen on the DE and the GSX 8S also, is the quality of the fit and finish and the componentry. Now Suzuki's have always been rather nice in that respect, but I think they have just upped their game on these new models, and the quality of the materials, the way it's put together, the thought that goes into the sort of colour matching and the way everything is balanced is really good. For me, this feels like and looks like a much more premium bike than that price tag would suggest. I think they've done a good job with it. Okay, so as you can see, we're on a lovely scenic piece of road. Absolutely fantastic here. Little old medieval town at the bottom there, but it's probably a good opportunity to give you my final thoughts on this bike. And it is a little cracker. It's everything I liked about the 800DE, that punchy engine, plenty of power. This one obviously more road focused. It's definitely sharper handling, that 19-inch front wheel, the lower travel suspension, all adds up to what is a very flickable bike. I think Suzuki have done a very good job with it. When you consider it's at 9699, it's well priced as well. The question you have to ask yourself is how much kit do you want it. Obviously no cruise control, heated grip sensors and all that is an optional extra, but it is such a good fun bike to use. Very practical. You could tour on it, you can commute on it, you can go scratching round lanes like this in it. Ergonomically, I think this is a bike that's going to fit a lot of people. And so I'm 5'10", 32 inside leg. Username Kate is in front of me. Kate, I think, is about 5'4"-ish, with a shorter inside leg, and she's been fine on that, no problems at all. It's only if you're kind of 6'3" and up that you might find that that gets a little bit in the leg, but other than that, it's good. One advantage of this over the DE, as well as just being more road focused, is a little bit lighter. 7 kilos. Whether you'd really tell the difference or not, I don't know. But it just physically does feel a little bit more sprightly. You can lob it around a little bit more. It's quick enough for what you need. I think even if you had 2 up with luggage, there's enough torque there to help you out. So I hope you found that useful and entertaining. It is a very, very good bike, as we've covered off. And when you consider this coming in at 9,699, you are getting a hell of a lot for your money. Super comfortable, really good fun to ride, stable braking and accelerating, just an all-round fantastic bike, whether you're touring, commuting or just riding for fun. So if you have any questions, let me know in the comment section down below, and all that leaves me to say is until next time, thanks for watching, take care, ride safe, and I'll see you soon. Bye.